Hello, and thank you so much for coming back to Sarita Talks. We've got some awesome things going on today. You've got two TEDx speakers who touched hearts, open minds. I hope mine was, "Are you opening doors and are you closing them?" Raja was talking about invisible disabilities. Raja, tell us about yourself and what is strong and important, and the message that you are putting out.
Certainly. And thank you, Sarita. And by the way, Sarita was a fantastic speaker who was on my show just a
Yeah,
couple of weeks ago, and we
absolutely.
had a blast. So we had to just return the favor, and I had to be on her show too. So
Yeah.
let me tell you a little bit about this. I say that I I live the triangle life. I do karate. I, I do karate for the body, cancer research for the mind, and music for the soul. And
Nice.
when people see me for the first time and I'm speaking, they may not realize I I have an invisible disability. What that is I have a speech dysphonia. I've actually stuttered most of my life, and it used to be severe, really bad, so bad that when I was younger, I used to get into 30-second blocks. So if you can imagine yourself driving a car, you step on the gas and you step on the brake at the same time, and you do that, all that grinding is happening right in your throat. And
Mm.
half the day will go by, and then I just stopped talking because it hurt too much. I would get a sore throat by
Mm.
noon. So I just said, all right, that's enough. I just answer like yes, no questions, shake my head, yes, no, and that's enough. So the so
That's so
in when I was
limiting.
yeah, so when I was 7 years old, my teacher thought that I was mentally retarded and told the guidance counselors that, and they put me in special ed for years. And until I break that mold and told and showed by my example, my grades that there's nothing wrong in here. It's just it's like it's like it's like my Apple playlist is fantastic. It's just the headphones are a little bit staticky, right? That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So think about it that way. Um,
And it
and
really makes me sad that she was so quick to self-diagnose you. And you do cancer research, is that correct?
yeah, yeah,
So you put this child in classes for learning disability, and clearly he's a cancer researcher now. Continue on and tell us about how it was just so difficult because you had this invisible disability. Tell us more.
yeah. Well, if you look at this the statistics, over 1 billion people in the world have some sort of a disability. And in fact, the reason
Mhm.
why this is so important is that in the United States alone, um, people who have a disability of some kind, there is a 80% unemployment rate. Now, for people with
Wow.
invisible disabilities, they're generally twice the normal unemployment rate in the U.S. So, and I live near Philadelphia. In most cities, the unemployment rate hovers around 4 to 8%. In Philadelphia, people with invisible disabilities have a 16% unemployment rate or higher, and that's only the ones we know. Because I know, just like me, I didn't have a voice until a couple of years ago because I used to hide in shame. And instead, the people that finally speak up, that's when you finally know about it. So you don't know if someone has a speech disability, hearing, or if they're blind. I mean, if it's blind, it's a little bit more obvious. But people who are
Mhm.
autistic or on ADHD or on some sort of a spectrum, they have fibromyalgia, some sort of another disability where they can't move well. It's very painful.
Mhm.
These are all things that limit you in one way. But because of that, these people tend to be out of the box thinkers, and they find ways to solve problems in ways that you would never have thought about. And so,
I love it.
my assertion is that if you hire people with invisible disabilities, they will solve problems for you in ways that you never thought about as well. And it'll increase your productivity and your profitability.
And I love that. Now, you were talking about employment, and one of the most poignant stories that I've ever heard. And, anytime that I'm describing the invisible disabilities that people have, I
Yeah.
use that story about
Yeah.
when you were going to present. Tell us
Yeah.
about how employment and how that went, please, and thank you.
Sure. Sure. Of course. So, at my last company, I worked for 15 years. In the last 10 years of it, as a cancer scientist, so I've been behind multi-billion-dollar drugs, Zytiga, Darzalex was my baby. I helped to bring that to market and get it FDA approved. It's $5.5 billion. I was on the
Yeah.
clinical trial lead operations team for 3 years for that. So I can say I put my stamp on that. I helped to make CAR T cells and Carvicti came out FDA approved in 2022. Anyway, the point is, all those years, especially the last 10 years, I was still hiding in shame because
Mhm.
I was embarrassed to speak in front of large groups because of the judgment and the rolled eyes and people just turning to the side and, oh God, he's taking so long again. And,
Oh my
and people don't mean to do it, but it's some people get uncomfortable when someone's struggling to speak. Now, right now, I'm using 10, 20 different strategies to speak fluently. You'll hear me sometimes pause in between words, or I will elide or extend a sound or a vowel. Those are my strategies I'm using to connect and to continue the
Yeah.
sound, right? So, but the reason why it was so hard was that for those 10 years, I jumped between 5 different managers because I was such a good person in the lab. I would create such great actionable data content. All the managers were working to say, oh, I want Roger on my team. I want Roger on my team. Guess what happened?
Yeah.
I would do the work and they would present the data on my work and they would get a promotion. And
Yeah.
that happened 5 times, 5 different managers over 10 years. I never got a promotion. And one of those managers that I worked with for over 9 months, I ended up developing these clone lines that ended up being the standard for the next clinical trial. So exceptional work. I got a Encore Award for scientific excellence,
Wow.
and she left my name off the slide deck.
No.
Yeah. She thanked me at the very end saying, oh, yeah, Roger did a lot of work. But it made it look like I did 5% of the work when actually 50% of the data slides were mine.
And
And
how did you
that,
feel? How did that make you feel in that
oh
moment?
my God, I felt so disempowered. I felt undervalued. I felt frustrated and depressed, everything. I just was because I thought, like, how can you take advantage of somebody like that? And
Yeah.
to add insult to injury, she got a promotion again. I didn't. And not only that, I was doing the work of 2 people. I injured both of my rotator cuffs and I was in physical therapy for a year. So it was very painful and it didn't change anything. So that's
Hmm.
when my life I knew had to change. Now, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but here's what I did and it
Tell
worked for
us.
me. My parents always taught me sometimes you have to learn to let go, you have to forgive. So I decided to
Mhm.
forgive but not to forget. So as a result, what happened was I joined Toastmasters and finally faced my fear of speaking. So Toastmasters, if you don't know it, they're a
Yeah.
nonprofit. They teach a, li- 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 a leadership and what speaking and presentation skills. So got into
Mhm.
that, passed my first 10 speeches in like under a year, and then I started to get into the officer side of things, and I
Mhm.
became the president of that company. And then once I left
Nice.
that company, I actually, while I was there, I started these speaker confidence workshops annually. In the first year, I had 40 people. In the second year, during the pandemic, we had 80. And then the
Love
third
it.
year, we had over 150. We broke the internet there because we had to get somebody else's Zoom account to get more than 100 people on. And then now, because of a result of that, I won a coveted Inspire Award for
Mm.
improving company culture.
Oh, I
All
love it. I
because
love it.
I learned to pivot.
So tell us about your TEDx and how that came about.
Sure. So here's the fascinating part. I when I applied, I actually ended up applying late. The
Mm.
deadline when I was searching for local TEDx's, just so I wouldn't have to fly and get hotel, just so I could drive to something. I tried to find
Mhm.
something local that was in Philadelphia, and I found this one that was at Jefferson University, and I thought, oh my God, I gotta apply for this. The deadline was the 31st. I applied the day after. I'm like, oh no. So maybe
Oh,
I probably won't get it, but I'm like, what the hell? Let me just send it in.
yeah.
Apparently, they had not closed off the Google form in until Monday because I applied over the weekend. So I snuck in there. I still got my application in. And
That's
so
a
this is
him
another
thing.
thing.
Yeah.
This is another thing I want to tell you people. Never give up. Send it anyway. You never know what's going to happen. Well,
Absolutely.
I got into it, and they accepted me. Out of 280 applications, they selected 9 speakers, and I was
Oh.
one of those 9 that spoke that day, and
And
I
I'm
was
glad
pretty
you
stoked.
did. I'm glad you
Yeah,
did. I'm glad you were able to pivot because a lot of people don't know that change is absolutely possible. I could
yeah.
change right now and decide that, hey, I'm going to start studying for science. Now, am I going to do that? Absolutely not. However, the change is possible. And I'm glad you mentioned Toastmasters because a lot of people struggle with self-confidence and it is a safe space. And there's one, I'm sure, in close proximity to everybody in the United States, if not beyond. And what they do is you learn to hone your speaking skills. And there's someone who is, jotting down suggestions. And it's just really, would you agree? It's a safe space to kind of grow through the craft of just being able to articulate yourself.
Oh God, it's fantastic. And
Mhm.
honestly, of all the different uh, coaching, mentoring programs that I've tried to be a part of, Toastmasters is one of those great organizations, and they're a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Uh, and it's been the highest ROI of anything I've really done with coaching, and
Nice.
because everybody there is of like mind, they're trying to learn, they're trying to grow, and everybody has the understanding it is a safe space to practice things and to learn things, and it's okay to be imperfect. And that's the one thing also, we see all these amazing speakers. We see Dr. King's speech, I have a dream, or we see JFK's speech about trying to go to the moon, and we think we have to be like that. No, no, you have to be you. And that's the
Mm,
main thing people forget about speaking is that. So for example, uh, because I gave a practice speech for that TEDx talk at one Toastmasters meeting. 2 days later, I got a cold email from somebody I didn't even know. Say, hey,
hmm.
Roger, we loved your speech so much. We want you to speak at the DEI Summit at Pfizer World Headquarters in Manhattan for a
Nice.
DEI Summit. Whoa,
That's
because I gave a
big.
practice speech.
That's big. Yeah, and you know
Yeah,
what? If you're trying to break into speaking, speak as many places as you can for free. If they invite you, come because you're already working on something. And everybody, first, the most important thing I think you were touching on, or one of the important things, is being authentic, being who you are, and a little bit of that, or the 50% of that is being vulnerable and finding safe spaces. So if you get something also from this, try to foster the communities that are safe spaces where Raja, who has an invisible disability, and me, who's formerly incarcerated, we feel just as comfortable because we should don't be that teacher that discounts him because clearly this man is worth it and worthwhile. You've got a
well,
couple
that's the
events
thing.
coming up.
Yeah,
Tell
I do. I
us.
do. Oh, certainly. So, one thing is, Tuesday nights I have my Speaker Confidence Mastermind. This used to be my pay to play group, but now for a one-time donation of $25, you get to be around other entrepreneurs, coaches, authors, speakers, and we get to up level each other with different
Nice.
speaking feedback. We do 1 week we do entrepreneur skills, tips and tricks. 1 week we do mindset, and 1 week I do a ask me anything, and we help you with
Ooh,
your business, your messaging, your marketing, your follow up, whatever you want to do. And
nice.
so that's one event we do every week,
And
and
that's so affordable.
it
Yeah.
is 25
Yeah.
bucks, and then you get that access for life. It's Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern, and I have another event coming up. Actually, there's two here. Potapalooza, which is coming up on November 13th, which is a
Okay.
great event. Speakers Playhouse, Kimberly Crow, who runs that event, has been one of my dear friends who has really helped to begin my journey. And
Nice.
as Rita knows from being on my show, that's where I decided to start a live broadcast, a live interview
Yeah.
program. And now this morning, I just hit episode 383, and
You're almost there.
I know, 400 interviews in 28 months. Can you believe that? I can't
Wow.
believe it, but now I do because I
Yeah.
started the work imperfectly and it just kept on going. And
I
believe
tell
me,
people all the time it's a scrappy little show, but we're making it happen.
that's right.
That's
That's
my
right.
show.
And that's
Yours
what
is
it takes.
very clean. Huh?
Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah. And then lastly, like on December 21st, I'm going to hold my fourth annual Rising Tide Summit. And what that is about is we're looking for speakers with cachet. coaches, authors, speakers, and heartfelt entrepreneurs. That's what cachet spells. And
Yeah.
so what we are doing is, if you're a speaker that, or an entrepreneur or a business owner that can uplift others, help them with their business, get to their profits faster, get to their management faster, they help with automations or AI or something, we want to hear from you. And we have 3 keynote spots. One of them is already taken. Our sponsor, Steve Erickson, is going to be our sponsor for the event. So he's going to be getting one of those keynote spots already, because he's already a sponsor. And
Yeah.
so that's is your opportunity to watch the 400th interview live. And we're going to have
Ooh.
games and prizes. We're going to give away, like Amazon gift cards. We may give out another Blue Yeti microphone. So if you're a podcaster or speaker or something that you want to get a high quality mic, that's your chance to grab that too.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Raja, I appreciate you coming on and just open our eyes to new things, because I would have never thought about how you struggle, or someone with a speech impediment or stuttering, to even order at the drive-through
Yeah. I tell you
or
what, the
purchase a
scariest
car.
so scariest thing is, for example, people don't realize this is not a sometime thing. This is an every day, every hour, every minute challenge, because
Mhm.
uh, I have to refill my prescriptions. I have to call the pharmacy and say, please say the number. And if I mess up on the number, I got to repeat it. And if I mess up again, I got to repeat it. It takes me 5 times to do that. When I ask Alexa, what is the forecast? I got to ask 3, 4 times.
Yeah.
When I call up a Domino's Pizza and I ask for example, this happened at the last Super Bowl when the Eagles were playing. Go Eagles!
Mm.
Um,
Go
uh,
Chiefs. How about
go,
that?
that's
How
okay.
That's all right.
So
We're
that's okay.
winners.
Chiefs won. It's all right.
Yeah.
But I was ordering during halftime. I was trying to get a pepperoni pizza
Mhm.
for my son, and my daughter likes cheese, so we're ordering all that. And I say that, and I'm getting stuck on my block, and so Domino's hangs up on me. And it's not the first time. I don't blame them. They're
You
mostly.
should, though. You should. People need to
Well, I
learn
mean,
patience. And it's not about blaming, but it
yeah,
is about being a person of character, integrity, and patience. And that's not a game. So that's very kind of you not to blame them, but it's a teachable moment. I would go back in there the same week, the same night, and say, "Hey, you hung up on me, and I just wanted pizza for my family."
yeah,
Sometimes the truth hurts. Now, I'm not telling
yeah,
you to go confront everybody, but if they don't know, they don't know. That's like, I started a not for profit organization, A Home for
yeah.
Her. And we help people or women that are affected by domestic violence, and also returning citizens, women like me. And I've been told in meetings, you really need to just keep to the battered women and stay away from women getting out of prison. I'm that woman getting out of prison, but you told me that. And
Yeah.
you had even spoke of a manager that had the gumption to tell you that you wouldn't progress because of your disability.
hmm And it's interesting. The people that thought that, they were wrong, because I kept going and I kept learning and
Yeah.
kept training. And what's funny is I've trained so many people. When we did a Sigma class at my last company, it
Mhm.
was a 2-day course, and we all got our green belts in like Lean Six Sigma. So it's sort of like a productivity and a statistical analysis program,
Mhm.
a certification. Out of 6 of us, at the end of that, they all decided who was going to present the work at the end of that. And in those 2 days, they all picked me. They said, "Oh no, Roger can do it." You
That's
know,
right.
they knew,
That's
they knew
right.
how
That's
good I
so
was.
empowering,
Yeah, and
and
what's interesting is my coworkers see that, but the managers didn't see that, and that's where I think that disconnect lies. And I want all of you out there, if you feel disconnected, I think one thing is you you don't need permission to speak up, but if
mm,
you do, I'm giving it to you. You have
that's
permission.
right.
Speak up. If you see something, do something about it. And a lot of us sometimes are fearful for our jobs, or we're not. Oh, I don't want to rock the boat. It's no, definitely rock the boat, because there's so many yes men out there. It's not about just allowing. When you're a side observer, you say, "Well, I'm not involved. I'm not really part of it." But if you see something and you allow it, you're kind of the problem too. All
Yeah,
right,
that's
and
right.
you
Foster a
know
community. A
Mhm.
community of caring, inclusiveness, a community of speak up. I like that. I really do. Raja, how can we find us? Where can we find you? Tell me all of your platforms.
Absolutely. So, first is you see behind me, Victory Mindset Academy. If you click on that, on the first page, there's a free fast action mini course that you can supercharge your mindset in only 15 minutes.
Oh, I love
So
it.
definitely take advantage of that. Second is I just launched a YouTube channel last month. I only had 30 subscribers. I looked this morning, I have over 1,000 now. I couldn't believe how
That's
fast it's
right.
growing. So it is at Raja Vaidya Speaker. So just look me up, and the show is called the Unbox Me Today show. Unbox Me Today, and the reason why I say that is also the name of my book, Unbox Me Today. Notice how it's not just a title; it is a call to action. I want all of you
Ooh.
to not wait. Don't wait to unbox your lives, because this box of fear that we've created, whether through our education, our coworkers, our society, our family, our financial situations, or our coding, how we've been programmed to think growing up, you're allowed to break out of that. And it's scary and it's uncomfortable. But on the other side of that uncomfortableness, that's where your success lies. You must become uncomfortable first so you can break through and find that God determined success that you deserve.
Amen. And I love it. Raja, thanks for coming on. Thank you for telling us that, you know what, he gave us permission. If you don't know already that you can speak up, you can. Be the better person, be the change you want to see in the world. Raja, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you. And I cannot